From the lush rainforests of the Amazon to the icy plains of the Arctic, our planet is home to a breathtaking array of life. Yet this delicate balance is under threat, and nowhere is this more apparent than in the rising tides. Across the globe, from the smallest islands to the largest continents, the impacts of climate change are being felt with increasing intensity. Sea levels are rising at an alarming rate, fueled by the melting of glaciers and the expansion of warming ocean water. This poses an existential threat to low-lying island nations, some of which are barely a meter above sea level. In this video, we will journey to the front lines of this global crisis, exploring the plight of 10 countries facing an uncertain future. From the idyllic shores of the Maldives to the remote atolls of Kiribati, we will witness the challenges faced by communities grappling with the very real possibility of losing their homelands. Join us as we delve into the science behind this environmental crisis and meet the people fighting for their survival. The Maldives, an archipelago of over 1,000 coral islands, is often seen as the epitome of a tropical paradise. However, beneath this idyllic facade lies a stark reality. The Maldives is the lowest-lying nation on Earth, with an average elevation of just 1.5 meters above sea level. This makes the Maldives incredibly vulnerable to climate change. Coastal erosion and rising sea levels threaten its very existence. The Maldivian people, known for their resilience, are on the front lines of this global crisis. Fishermen catch fewer fish as warming waters disrupt marine ecosystems. Tourism, the lifeblood of the Maldivian economy, is threatened. Despite challenges, the Maldivian people remain determined. They engage in international climate negotiations, urging action. The Maldives advocates for climate justice. The future of the Maldives hangs in the balance. Will the international community act in time? The answer lies in our collective ability to address this challenge. Far out in the Pacific Ocean lies Kiribati, a nation of 33 coral atolls. Despite its size, Kiribati is one of the smallest and most remote countries, with just over 120,000 people. Vulnerable to climate change, its average elevation is just 2 meters above sea level. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change predicts much of Kiribati could be uninhabitable by 2050. Rising sea levels are already affecting Kiribati. Coastal erosion is forcing communities to relocate, and saltwater intrusion is damaging crops. The people of Kiribati, renowned for their rich cultural heritage and deep connection to the ocean, are facing an uncertain future. The prospect of losing their homeland has forced them to contemplate the unthinkable migration. In 2014, the Kiribati government purchased land in Fiji as a potential refuge. This highlights the difficult choices facing small island developing states. Migration comes with challenges, including cultural disruption and economic hardship. The story of Kiribati is a stark reminder of the global nature of climate change. Here, in the vast expanse of the Pacific Ocean, lies the island nation of Tuvalu, a scattering of 9 low-lying islands and atolls, home to a vibrant Polynesian culture and a people deeply connected to the sea. But Tuvalu's very existence is in peril, threatened by the encroaching ocean. With an average elevation of just a few meters above sea level, Tuvalu is exceptionally vulnerable to the impacts of climate change. As global temperatures rise, so too do sea levels, gradually swallowing the island's precious land. The consequences are already being felt. Coastal erosion is intensifying, claiming homes, infrastructure, and ancestral burial grounds. Saltwater intrusion is contaminating freshwater sources, jeopardizing agriculture and the livelihoods of the Tuvaluan people. The threat of displacement looms large over Tuvalu. As sea levels continue to rise, the very land beneath their feet is shrinking, forcing communities to consider the unthinkable: relocation to foreign lands. The government of Tuvalu has been a vocal advocate for climate action on the international stage, pleading for urgent measures to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and mitigate the devastating effects of climate change. But the future remains uncertain. the fate of Tuvalu hangs in the balance, a stark reminder of the profound consequences of climate change and the urgent need for global cooperation. The world watches, hoping that this island paradise will not be lost to the rising tides. Scattered across the vast Pacific Ocean lies the Republic of the Marshall Islands, a chain of volcanic islands and coral atolls renowned for their beauty and biodiversity. Yet this idyllic paradise faces an uncertain future, threatened by a confluence of geopolitical and environmental challenges. The legacy of nuclear testing during the Cold War continues to cast a long shadow over the Marshall Islands. Decades later, the environmental and health impacts of radioactive contamination persist, a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of human actions. And now, the Marshall Islands face a new threat: climate change. Rising sea levels driven by global warming are encroaching upon these low-lying islands, putting at risk their fragile ecosystems, infrastructure, and the very existence of their communities. The Marshallese people are no strangers to adversity. For centuries, they have navigated the challenges of living on remote islands in a vast ocean, their resilience and adaptability deeply ingrained in their culture. Today, they are on the front lines of the climate crisis, witnessing firsthand the impacts of rising sea levels and extreme weather events. But even in the face of such daunting challenges, the spirit of the Marshallese people remains unbroken. They are adapting to the changing environment, implementing innovative solutions to protect their islands and preserve their way of life. The Marshall Islands stand as a testament to the human spirit's ability to endure, even in the face of existential threats. In the heart of the Indian Ocean lies the Seychelles, an archipelago of breathtaking beauty. 115 islands, each a gem of granite peaks, lush rainforests, and pristine beaches, form a haven for unique flora and fauna. Beneath the surface, a vibrant underwater world teems with life. Coral reefs, home to a kaleidoscope of marine species, are a testament to the Seychelles' rich biodiversity. But this paradise, like many island nations, is grappling with the harsh realities of a changing climate. Rising sea levels, a consequence of our warming planet, are encroaching upon the Seychelles' shores. Coastal erosion eats away at the island's edges, threatening crucial infrastructure, tourism, and the delicate balance of its ecosystems. The consequences of inaction are dire. The very existence of some of the Seychelles' lowest-lying islands is in jeopardy. The rising seas threaten to submerge entire ecosystems, displacing wildlife and jeopardizing the livelihoods of communities dependent on the ocean's bounty. The Seychelles government is acutely aware of the challenges ahead. They are taking proactive steps to combat climate change, investing in renewable energy, protecting their marine environments, and implementing sustainable tourism practices. But the fight is far from over. The Seychelles story is a poignant reminder of the interconnectedness of our planet and the urgent need for a global effort to combat climate change. The fate of these islands serves as a stark warning, a call to action for the world to protect our planet's most vulnerable corners. The Solomon Islands, a magnificent archipelago nation in the South Pacific, is home to a rich tapestry of cultures and a breathtaking array of biodiversity. Its turquoise waters teem with marine life, while lush rainforests cloak its volcanic islands. However, this island paradise is facing an existential threat: rising sea levels. As global temperatures climb, glaciers and ice sheets melt at an alarming rate, causing the oceans to rise and encroach upon the Solomon Islands' shores. This slow but relentless inundation is already displacing communities, swallowing ancestral lands, and contaminating freshwater sources. Coastal erosion is intensifying, gnawing away at the very foundations of these fragile islands. The Solomon Islands story is a stark reminder that climate change is not a distant threat, but a present danger, reshaping the world as we know it and jeopardizing the future of entire nations. The rising seas are exacerbating extreme weather events, which are becoming more frequent and severe. Cyclones now pose a constant threat, bringing devastating winds, rains, and storm surges. These storms inflict widespread damage upon the Solomon Islands' infrastructure, homes, and crops, leaving communities struggling to rebuild and recover. The delicate balance of life on these islands is being disrupted, forcing the Solomon Islanders to confront an uncertain future. The plight of the Solomon Islands is a poignant example of the inequities of climate change. This nation, which has contributed minimally to global greenhouse gas emissions, is bearing the brunt of its devastating consequences. The international community must come together to address this global crisis, providing support to vulnerable nations like the Solomon Islands and taking decisive action to curb emissions and mitigate the impacts of climate change. Micronesia, a nation scattered across the vast expanse of the western Pacific Ocean, is a realm of exquisite beauty and cultural diversity. Its islands, some volcanic and others mere coral atolls, are home to unique ecosystems and ancient traditions. However, this idyllic archipelago is grappling with the encroaching reality of climate change. Rising sea levels, driven by the relentless melting of polar ice, pose an existential threat to Micronesia's low-lying islands. The very existence of these islands is precarious, their landmass barely rising above the waves. As the ocean swells, saltwater intrusion contaminates freshwater sources, threatening agriculture and livelihoods. Coastal erosion is relentless, eating away at the shoreline and jeopardizing infrastructure, homes, and vital resources. The impacts of climate change are not merely a future concern for Micronesia, they are an immediate and pressing reality. Micronesia's vibrant culture, intricately interwoven with the natural world, is also under threat. Traditional fishing grounds are being disrupted as marine ecosystems struggle to adapt to warming waters and ocean acidification. The delicate balance of life on these islands is being upset, with cascading effects on food security, livelihoods, and cultural practices that have been passed down through generations. The resilience of the Micronesian people is being tested as they grapple with the multifaceted challenges of climate change. Displacement, both internal and international, is becoming increasingly likely as the habitability of their islands is called into question. The story of Micronesia is a stark reminder of the human cost of climate change, highlighting the urgent need for global action to address this crisis and protect the cultural heritage and future of vulnerable nations. Vanuatu, an archipelago nation in the South Pacific, is renowned for its pristine beaches, lush rainforests, and active volcanoes. This island paradise, however, is facing a formidable challenge: the rising tide of climate change. As global temperatures soar and glaciers melt at an alarming rate, the sea level surrounding Vanuatu is steadily rising, threatening to engulf its low-lying islands and reshape its very existence. Coastal communities are witnessing the relentless advance of the ocean, their homes, livelihoods, and cultural heritage increasingly vulnerable to the encroaching saltwater. Erosion is eating away at the shoreline while king tides and storm surges inundate once safe havens. The impacts of climate change are not merely theoretical for the people of Vanuatu. They are an everyday reality, a constant reminder of the precarious future that lies ahead. Climate change is amplifying natural disasters in Vanuatu. Cyclones are now more frequent and severe, with stronger winds and heavier rainfall. In 2015, Cyclone Pam, a Category 5 storm, devastated Vanuatu. Entire villages were flattened, crops destroyed, and infrastructure crippled. These extreme weather events threaten Vanuatu's economy, reliant on tourism and agriculture. Climate change jeopardizes livelihoods, exacerbates poverty, and hinders sustainable development. Vanuatu's story is a reminder that climate change is a humanitarian crisis and a global security threat. The international community must act to curb emissions and support vulnerable nations. Fiji, a nation of over 300 islands, is renowned for its pristine beauty. Lush rainforests cloak its volcanic peaks, while vibrant coral reefs teem with marine life. But this paradise faces an unprecedented threat. Rising sea levels, eroding coastlines, and inundated areas are forcing relocations. Saltwater intrusion threatens agriculture and livelihoods. The Fijian people are renowned for their resilience and determination. They are actively seeking solutions to combat this existential threat. Coastal communities are planting mangroves. Their intricate root systems act as natural barriers. Homes are being built on stilts, adapting to changing water levels. The Fijian government is taking proactive measures. They are investing in renewable energy sources, reducing reliance on fossil fuels. Fiji advocates for stronger international action on climate change. Fiji has emerged as a vocal leader on the global stage, urging the world to recognize the plight of small island developing states. The fight for Fiji's survival is not just environmental, but cultural. The Fijian way of life, their traditions, and their deep connection to the land are at stake. Fiji stands as a reminder of our planet's interconnectedness and the need for collective action. Bangladesh, a land of mighty rivers and fertile plains, is on the front lines of climate change. At the confluence of the Ganges, Brahmaputra, and Meghna rivers, Bangladesh is a delta nation, dependent on the balance of water and land. But this balance is being disrupted, threatening lives and livelihoods. Rising sea levels, fueled by melting glaciers and thermal expansion, push saltwater inland, contaminating freshwater. Vast tracts of land become infertile. Saline water poisons the land. Erratic monsoon patterns add to the crisis. Monsoons are now intense and unpredictable, causing devastating floods. Cyclones are more frequent and intense. The people of Bangladesh, however, are renowned for their resilience and adaptability. They have lived with the rhythms of the rivers for centuries, adapting to the annual floods that have long been a part of their lives. But climate change is presenting them with challenges of an unprecedented scale. Faced with these mounting threats, the people of Bangladesh are demonstrating remarkable ingenuity. They are building floating gardens on water hyacinth, adapting to the changing water levels and securing their food supply. Cyclone shelters built on raised platforms provide refuge during storms, saving countless lives. The international community, too, is beginning to recognize the plight of Bangladesh and other vulnerable nations. Funding is being channeled towards building climate-resilient infrastructure and developing early warning systems for cyclones and floods. But the challenges are immense, and the future of Bangladesh remains uncertain. From the low-lying islands of the Pacific to the delta nations of Asia, the impacts of climate change are being felt most acutely by those who have contributed the least to the problem. These nations, on the front lines of a crisis not of their making, are sounding the alarm, urging the world to wake up to the stark reality of a changing planet. The time for complacency is long gone. The fate of these nations, and indeed the future of our planet, depends on the choices we make now. It is our collective responsibility to reduce our carbon footprint, transition to sustainable practices, and protect the delicate balance of our planet for generations to come. Thank you for watching. If you want to read more articles and get in-depth information, head over to miscspace.cc. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more educational content.